Hello, and welcome to the experimental theater performance. This is a test session. The air was thick in the attic of the Society for Psychic Research. The thick velvet curtains that Alisteir Crowley had hung all around were making it considerably hotter than it should be for a November evening in London, in a corner of the room. Lawrence Jacks was watching the maverick occultist swarm about, preparing the ritual.
Something's going to go horribly wrong. Can't shake that feeling.
Nonsense, my dear fellow. The atmosphere is merely attuned to my presence. This heat will spark the astral energies we seek to unlock.
Save it for the initiates. Aaliyah, you're just trying to psych yourself up.
How? Amusing. You think I'm simply trying to deceive. I'm not the one who's been hiding behind the Society's stodgy reputation. I've come here to unlock secrets, and no amount of skepticism will deter me.
Oh boy, looks like someone's getting a little too full of themselves. Time to put on the gloves. Lawrence.
Foolish Chadd. You think a pair of gloves can shield you from the raw power I'm about to unleash? Come, Lawrence, don't be shy. Join me in this dance with the unknown. Together we shall shatter the veil.
Hold up, Alika. You're not even acknowledging your own. Voices are telling you to shut down my ego. That's a little too convenient.
Convenient? You dare imply that my voice is some feeble trick of the mind. Iwas has spoken through me, guiding me towards the secrets I seek. Your petty skepticism is but a faint echo of the great wheels turning within me.
Crowley was wearing his traditional towel robe, while Director Jacks donned the traditional tuxedo and bowler hat of respectable gentlemen. The contrast between the two was staggering. Jacks sighed.
Jacks is totally underdressed. For this epoch looks like someone forgot their straight-laced suit is no match for magical chaos.
Finally, Chadd recognizes the gravity of the occasion, though I fear his starched collar will only serve to stiffen his narrow-minded perceptions.
You're just mad because my collar is so crisp, it's reflecting all the chaos you've tried to unleash. That's some serious vanity, Alisteir.
Preposterous, preposterous. My attire is a deliberate choice, a defiant rejection of the stifling conformity that seeks to bind me. You, on the other hand, are simply a prisoner of your own respectable mediocrity.
Mediocrity. Ha! At least I'm not wearing a get-up that screams, I'm trying too hard to be a mad sorcerer. It's more like you're screaming for attention.
The smell of the Abramlin incense was overpowering. "Is that really necessary?" asked Director Jacks, coughing.
Please, it's an essential atmospheric touch. If I'm going to be a vessel for these entities, I need the right MP. Besides, a little incense never killed anyone, did it?
fool. You think a pinch of Avramlin is mere ampe. It's a portal to the hidden realms, a key to unlock the gates of perception. And as for entities, you have no idea what you're dealing with, Chadd. This is not a trivial. It's an invitation to forces beyond your control.
I don't tell you how to do your job. Jax, don't tell me how to do mine, replied Crowley snappily.
Burn, Crowley, burn. But seriously, who does he think he is? The great beast, or just a self-aggrandizing wannabe?
Wannabe, you insolent little puppy. I am the incarnation of Horus, the bringer of light in a darkening world. You are but a fleeting moment, a forgotten whisper in the annals of eternity. Mark my words, Chadd. You will be remembered as nothing more than a footnote to my greatness.
Oh please, spare us the Egyptian dramatics, Crowley. I've seen better monologues at a Soho avant-garde theater. And by the way, Horus, really, you're still trying that one out.
You dare mock me. The god Horus speaks through me, and you dismiss it as Egyptian dramatics. You are blind to the mysteries, Chadd. The gods do not care for your petty aesthetics or theatrical preferences. I am Iwas's instrument, and you would do well to tremble before me.
Iwas, huh? The Egyptian god of wisdom and magic. Or so the voices tell us, right? You know, I've heard that one before. Or have I? Laughs maniacally.
You mock what you do not understand. Iwas is more than just a god. He is my master, the lord of the threefold law and the keeper of the sacred magic. Your laughter only betrays your own ignorance.
Oh, so now it's sacred magic, huh? The old Crowley magic trick of making himself sound important by throwing around big words. Newsflash, Lord Horus. I've seen more mystique in a used bookstore.
Your plebeian palate cannot taste the nectar of true gnosis. Sacred magic is not just words, it's a way of life, and one that you are woefully unprepared to comprehend.
Director Jax sat down, looking dejected. These theatrics were far from his favorite method of work. The Society for Psychic Research had always taken pride in its scientific rigor. Associating with this reject from the Golden Dawn was a very last resort.
The look on his face is priceless. Rejection and Golden Dawn. Crowley's got some splainin' to do, don't he?
A petty official, mired in the mundane. How quaint. You think a few degrees from the Golden Dawn are enough to dismiss me. I hold the secrets of Thelema, and your organization's timid experiments are but a pale imitation.
The ego on this guy is like a black hole sucking all the air out of the room. Thinks he's the only one with secrets. Please, Crowley. I've seen more mysticism in a used crystal shop on a Sunday afternoon.
How amusing. You think you've seen mysticism. Ha! You've merely witnessed a pale echo of the real thing, reflected through the dull lens of materialism. My secrets are not for sale in some tawdry shop, but whispered by the gods themselves to those with ears to hear.
Dramatic flair alert. Whispered by the gods. More like whispered in his whiskey-addled ear by his own inflated sense of self-importance. Give me a break, Crowley. You're not even original, just a rip-off of Alisteir with a bad haircut.
The ignorant fool thinks he can mock the divine appointment. I am Iwas's vessel, the book of the law his dictate. You, sir, are but a mere echo of my own genius, a faint whisper of what is to come.
All the instruments of the S. R. had stopped working, and no amount of investigation from the scholarly members came to any sort of conclusion. He had Alisteir Crowley flown from New York as a desperate measure.
This is it. This is how they tried to take down Crowley, bringing in the big guns, or rather, the not-so-big guns, and expecting him to be impressed by their desperate measures. Please, Crowley's been doing this stuff for decades. He's got an Oscar-worthy acceptance speech ready just for this moment.
How quaint. They think I'm some sort of charlatan, a showman playing to the gallery. But what they're witnessing now is the very fabric of reality beginning to unravel. And I, Alisteir Crowley, am the thread that pulls the veil aside.
Save it for the Vegas stage shows, Crowley. We've seen this unraveling of reality shtick before, in a bad acid trip on a Saturday night at Burning Man. The only thing you're pulling apart is your own credibility, mate.
How predictable. You mock the mysteries, the sacred fires that I have walked among. I'll show you the true meaning of unraveling as I reduce these pitiful instruments to mere toys in the hands of the cosmos.
Do I also need a costume? Asked Jax after clearing his throat. It's not a costume, replied the occultist dryly. And no, you do not need one. You don't even need to do the deed, just to profess your will.
Spare us the semantics. Crowley. Jax is already in over his head, and now he's got to worry about channeling some mystical will. This is what happens when you let a self-proclaimed magician lead the charge. You end up with more questions than answers, or spells that don't quite cast as promised.
The impertinence. You dare to question the efficacy of my art. I've walked the paths of Thoth and conversed with Aiwass himself. My will is not a triviality to be bandied about like a cheap parlor trick.
Aiwass, huh? Sounds like a made-up name for a minor deity. Next thing you'll be telling us is that the Enochian keys are just a fancy font. Thoth's paths, sure, but I've seen more convincing mysticism in a David Lynch fever dream.
David Lynch. You dare to besmirch the sacred names with your plebeian taste. Aiwass is not some trivial minor deity. He is the messenger of Horus, the bringer of change. And as for Thoth, you wouldn't know his paths if they were laid out before you in gold.
Oh, please. Thoth's just a fancy way of saying Egyptian dude with a staff. You're not even trying to sound mysterious anymore, Crowley, and Aiwass as Horus's messenger. That's just a regurgitation of Thelema 101. I've seen more original stuff in a hot tarot reader's notebook.
The ignorance is almost palpable. You think the mysteries of Thoth can be reduced to a staff. Ah, but you wouldn't understand the weight of that staff, the secrets it holds. And as for originality, I'll have you know that my Silima has been prophesied for millennia in the very halls of Chem. You're just a flea on the coat of history, Chadd.
Jack's face showed a hint of worry at the mention of the deed. Crowley did not notice, and continued his lesser, banishing ritual of the pentagram in his head. Every parasitic thought must be expelled, if they were to reach the Sapphira of Tifereth.
Come on. A pentagram in his head. You're basically saying he's got a fancy tattoo made of pure ego, and I'm sure it's not even symmetrical. Lesser banishing ritual. My ass? Just a bunch of mumbo-jumbo to distract from the fact that Crowley's got a bad case of magic-induced hubris.
Mumbo-jumbo, you wound me, Chadd. The lesser banishing ritual is an ancient art, a discipline of the will, not some trivial parlor trick. And as for symmetry, you wouldn't know true geometry if it bit you. The pentagram in my mind is a microcosm of the macrocosm, a reflection of the very fabric of existence. And I'll have, you know, it's more symmetrical than your pitiful attempts at critique.
Pitiful attempts at critique. You're the one spouting off about microcosms and macrocosms, while I'm just pointing out that your ego's got a bigger pentagram drawn around it than anything you've conjured up in your little ritual.
How amusing. You think you see through me, Chadd, but you merely reflect my own shadow, a projection of your own inadequacy. The ego I speak of is not mine, but the vessel for the divine spark that animates all beings. Your feeble attempts at analysis only prove your own lack of substance.
Vessel for the divine spark. You sound like a used car salesman trying to convince me I just won the lottery. This ego, it's a rare gem, just needs a good polishing to reveal its true worth. Give me a break. I'm not buying what you're selling, Crowley.
How predictable. The Philistine skepticism of the uninitiated. You'd rather cling to your mundane certainties than risk encountering the abyss within. The Sephira of Tifereth awaits, and you mock the path that leads there.
He lit up 6 candles around a golden circular carpet and double-checked the associations in the livre, 777.
Oh boy, now he's getting all fancy with his libres and whatnot. How long before he trips over his own ritualistic feet?
The ignorance of the profane is almost palpable. Doubtless you think Liber 777 is a cookbook for the spiritually tone deaf, Chadd. It's a Rosetta Stone deciphering the arcane codes that govern the cosmos. Your skepticism is but a feeble attempt to stifle the winds of revelation.
Winds of revelation. More like gusts of hot air from a self-proclaimed messiah. I'll believe it's not just a bunch of arbitrary symbols when I see him conjure up a decent cup of coffee with nothing but his thoughts and a few scraps of parchment.
The pedestrian tastes of the unwashed masses. You trade the mysteries of the universe for a trivial indulgence like caffeine. How quaint. I'll have you know, Chadd, that the secrets of Liber 777 are not to be used for such plebeian purposes. The true adept harnesses the forces of creation, not merely to caffeinate his dull wits.
Quaint. That's rich coming from a guy who thinks he can conjure reality with a few scribbled symbols and some mystical mumbo-jumbo. I'll take a decent cup of coffee over your forces of creation any day. Thanks for asking.
The impertinence is almost admirable. You trade the very fabric of reality for a beverage suited to the mundane tastes of the common herd. I'll show you what it means to manipulate the fundamental energies, Chadd. Mark my words, within this very circle, I shall unleash forces that will make your pitiful coffee seem like a triviality indeed.
You're certainly taking great care for your little performance, mused Jax. Just because my methods are different from yours does not mean we cannot share the same rigor. Dear colleague, I'd appreciate if you could suspend this judgmental tone.
Share the same rigor. You've got to be kidding me, Jax. The guy's a madman in tweed, thinking he's a pioneer while waving a book of dubious significance.
Madman in tweed. Ah, how amusing. You wound me with your pedestrian insults. Chadd, this is no book of dubious significance, but the Libex XVI itself, the blueprint for the adept's journey into the very heart of reality. And as for being a pioneer, I am merely the first to grasp the truths that will shake the foundations of this benighted age.
He marked a brief pause. In fact, we are ready for the profession of the will. Please join me.
Oh boy, this is where things go from weird to catastrophic. You're inviting him into some kind of dark ritual. I've got my popcorn ready.
Silence, Chadd. Your levity wounds the very fabric of the initiate's journey. This is no dark ritual, but a sacred rite, a declaration of intent to align with the cosmic forces that shape reality itself. You would do well to show some respect for the mysteries at hand.
Easy for you to say, Crowley. You're always so calm and collected. Meanwhile, I'm stuck here, being the court jester while the world burns.
Ah, the eternal whine of the uninitiated. You'd rather be a jester than a participant in the grand drama of humanity's evolution. Very well, Chadd. Remain in your seat and mock, but I'll take my place at the threshold of the abyss, where true power awaits.
Abyss. You're just going to waltz into some vague existential void and expect everything to magically align with the universe's cosmic forces. Give me a break.
Vague and existential. You wound me, Chadd. The abyss is not a void, but a gateway to the infinite, and I shall waltz into it with purpose, guided by the principles of the law. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Save it for the gullible masses, Crowley. I know. Your law is just a euphemism for do whatever gets you more power and control.
Ah, but do you not see, Chadd? Power and control are merely facets of the self. The true will, unencumbered by petty morality, knows no bound. It seizes what is rightfully mine, and I am its instrument.
You're just projecting your own ego onto the universe, old chap. The only thing that's rightfully yours is a bad haircut.
Enough. Your feeble jibes cannot pierce the armor of my ego. Chadd, I am Iwas incarnate. The voice of the gods has spoken through me, and as for this bad haircut, logs, you wound, but only because you're envious of my mastery over the sacred arts.
Master over the sacred arts. Ha! You can barely master a decent pompadour. Iwas incarnate. Yeah, right. More like an exasperated butler who needs to retire.
Pathetic. You mock what you do not comprehend. The pompadour is but a triviality, a mere reflection of the majesty that resides within me. I'll have you know. Iwas has ordained my every move, and as for retiring, sir, smirks. I've merely been sowing the seeds of chaos, waiting for the harvest.
Chaos. You call it chaos. More like a bad rerun of Days of Our Lives. Same old tired plot lines. Same old self-aggrandizing monologues. When was the last time you actually did something?
Ah, but that's where you're wrong. Chadd, I've done more in one night than your dull grey soul has accomplished in an eternity. The plot lines are not tired, they're being rewritten. And as for monologues, smirks. This conversation is merely a minor epiphany, a glimpse into the abyss of my magnificence.
Director Jax got out of his pocket a small piece of paper that they had worked on earlier. Crowley grabbed the livre, K, and his notes on John Dee's journals. They faced the summoning circle together.
Wait. You're not actually going to try to summon something, are you? Don't get me started on the state of that circle. It looks like a kindergartner's arts and crafts project gone wrong.
Silence, Chadd. You dare mock the great work. This circle is a masterpiece, a synthesis of D's and Nokian keys, and my own mastery of the sacred magic. The very fabric of reality will soon be torn asunder, and you'll be witness to it whether you like it or not.
fabric of reality, more like a hot mess express. Have you seen more coherent magic at a bad 70s rock concert? You think you're tearing reality apart, Crowley. Looks like you're just trying to tear the fabric of my patience.
Patience is for the weak. Chadd, your flippant remarks only fuel the engine of creation, adding petrol to the inferno that will soon consume your pedestrian understanding. Mark my words, I shall unleash a spark that will set the very foundations of existence ablaze.
The maverick occultist started a litany of titles and expressions that made Jack's eyes roll several times. I, the Beast, a priest of the princes of hell, child of the stars, stand at the intersection of the vertical and the horizontal.
Oh boy, here we go again. The intersection of the vertical and the horizontal. Sounds like you're trying to conjure up a decent Wi-Fi signal, Crowley. Next thing you know, you'll be invoking the spirits of the cloud.
Silence, Chadd. You mock what you do not understand. The vertical and the horizontal are the very axes upon which the cosmos turns. And as for Wi-Fi, I'd have you know that the astral networks are far more reliable than your puny earthly internet. But perhaps one day you'll grasp the fundamentals of the Kabbalah.
Astral networks. You mean like the time I tried to get a signal at Stonehenge and ended up with a face full of bird poop? Yeah, that's some top-notch mysticism right there. Fundamentals of the Kabbalah. More like fundamentals of ego inflation.
Foolish Chadd, your scorn is but a thin veil for your own ignorance. The astral networks are as vast and uncharted as the cosmos itself, and you dare to compare them to a quaint little festival at Stonehenge. As for ego inflation, I say, better an inflated ego than a deflated soul, such as yours.
After what seemed like a never-ending introduction, Crowley signaled the next phase by a small motion of the head towards his rationally minded colleague. They both read from the paper in imperfect rhythm.
Aha. Time for the rational guy to try and reel him in with some actual math. I'm sure it'll be a thrilling battle between occult wizardry versus taxation table. Bring on the excitement.
Silence, Chadd. Our colleague merely seeks to grasp the underlying harmonics of the universe, which you wouldn't recognize even if they danced through your little mind. Mark my words, his feeble attempts at numerology will only serve to illuminate the depths of my own genius.
Oh please, underlying harmonics. You mean like how you always find a way to turn a discussion about mysticism into an excuse for your own inflated sense of self-importance? Newsflash. Numerology is just code for I don't have any actual insights.
Ah, but Chadd, you mistake the symptom for the disease. My ego, as you call it, is merely a vessel for the divine influx that courses through me. You, on the other hand, are a mere cipher, attempting to reduce the sublime to your pedestrian notions of insight and reason. How? Amusing.
Oh, spare me the dramatics, Crowley. I'm not buying the whole divine vessel act. You're just full of it. And by the way, at least my pedestrian notions don't involve claiming to be a channel for ancient Egyptian deities. That's just embarrassing.
Ah, but Chadd, to invoke the gods is not to boast, but to acknowledge the truth. You, on the other hand, are merely a product of the stifling bourgeois rationalism that seeks to reduce all mystery to the mundane. I am Iwas incarnate. Do you think your petty skepticism can contain me?
We called the Sephira of Tifereth, under the auspice of the Six, to get counsel from beyond time.
Wait a minute, what's this? consulting the collective unconscious through the Sephirah. This is getting way too Kabbalah heavy for my taste. I hope they're not expecting me to start chanting Hebrew phrases anytime soon.
Chadt, you Philistine. The Sephiroth are not mere collective unconscious. They are the very fabric of the cosmos. Tifereth, the sphere of beauty and harmony, will reveal itself to those attuned to its resonance. Your ignorance is almost palpable.
Oh please, Crowley, you're not even trying to hide your disdain for me anymore. Philistine this, ignorance that. It's just a fancy way of saying I don't have a clue what you're talking about. And by the way, beauty and harmony sounds like someone's got their esoteric marketing spin on overdrive.
Ah, but Chadd, your pedestrian cynicism is precisely the problem. It reduces the sublime to the mundane. Tifereth's harmony is not a marketing slogan, but a reality that shatters the complacent ignorance of those who would seek to tame the divine. Your lack of reverence is amusing.
Nothing happened. Jax did his best to refrain a smirk. Crowley gestured him to move away.
Seriously, that's it? The great seer of Tifereth just gives me a withering look, and that's the grand reveal. I've seen more impressive magic at a kindergarten playdate. Jax, my man, don't even try to hide that smirk. I can see the mockery written all over your face.
Silence. Chadd, the Sephirah's response is not for the likes of you to comprehend. Your skepticism is a veil, a screen between yourself and the truth. Jack's smirk only betrays his own limitation. He has yet to grasp the nature of the ineffable.
Easy for you to say, Crowley, stuck in your ivory tower of mysticism. Ineffable. Yeah, that's just code for I have no idea what's going on either. And Jack smirk, that's price. You're projecting like a pro, dude. Meanwhile, I'm over here trying to keep the snark train rolling.
Proj indeed. You are the one lost in the labyrinth of your own ignorance, Chadd. The Sephirah's silence is not a failing, but a rebuke. It reveals the inadequacy of your comprehension. Your snark train will derail on the tracks of the abyss.
Jax did so, and even closed his eyes as Crowley partook in the next step of the ritual under his wide robe. He had become persuaded that libidinal energy was necessary to traverse the veils from Eastern parchments that had recently been found in a colonial expedition.
This is getting weird. Colonial expedition, really? They're using whatever obscure texts they can find as an excuse for Crowley's usual shenanigans. Libidinal energy. That's just a euphemism for, we don't know what we're doing, but let's get freaky.
Foolish Chadd. You reduce the mysteries of the East to shenanigans. The veils are thinning and you mock the sacred rites. The Shakti awakens within me, and you quibble over the terminology. Your ignorance is a sacrament, no doubt.
Oh great, now I'm a sacrament. That's rich, coming from someone who thinks libidinal energy is a legitimate ritual ingredient. News flash Crowley. Just because you're tripping on Shakti doesn't mean the rest of us have to get caught up in your mystical malarkey.
Malachi, you dare to mock the unfolding of the cosmic dance. The great work is not for the faint of heart or the pedestrian mind. Your envy is palpable. Chadd, you'd trade places with me in an instant if you could tap the infinite reservoirs of power that lie beyond your narrow understanding.
Suddenly, Crowley's knees gave up, and he was on the floor, his body and face contorted in blissful spasms. "I see something," he muttered in a breath.
Too much Shakti. Not enough yoga. I mean, this guy's just having some kind of mystical seizure. I see something. Yeah, Probably just his inner accountant reconciling the balance between ego and libido.
Foolish Chadd, you think my vision is but a quiver in the astral plane. I have beheld the gates of the abyss, seen the faces of the gods. This is not epilepsy, but epiphany. Your dull little mind cannot comprehend the majesty that unfolds within me.
Save it, Crowley. Majesty just means you peed yourself and got a glimpse of the divine laundry room. I've seen some wild stuff in my time too, pal. But at least I don't need to contort myself into a human pretzel to get a spiritual high.
Ah, Chadd Tao. Amusing. Your pedestrian taste for the mundane cannot fathom the depths of the abyss that yawn open within me. I have transcended the petty bounds of divine laundry room. I have danced with Isis herself.
Isis. More like is it over? Yet, dude's just waxing poetic because he thinks his aura is glowing brighter than a pack of Duracells on Black Friday. What's the real score? Crowley, did you actually see anything? Or are you just trolling for validation?
Your ignorant mouth froths with venom, Chadd, but I'll have you know, I've walked among the Egyptian gods and danced under starlight on mountain peaks. You may mock, but I hold the keys to the hidden chambers of the universe, and soon, very soon, all shall tremble at my feet.
I, the beast, command you. Spirit, identify yourself. He spoke to an ethereal silhouette that was now occupying his vision. It was as if faint volutes of smoke from the candles were unifying and taking shape.
Aha! Cue the ominous figure steps out of the shadows. Trumpets is just a puff of fog trying to look menacing. Narrator. I'm guessing this is where our boy Crowley's ego goes to meet its maker.
Foolish Chadd, you mistake the majesty for the mundane. This is no mere spectre, but Aiwass himself, my master and lord. The veil thins, and you tremble before the throne of the Scarlet Woman.
Chadt, exclaimed Crowley, convulsing so much that Jax couldn't help but step away in fear.
Convulsing. More like his reality's just convulsing itself into a panic because it can't handle the truth. I'm the one they're all trying to suppress. Get your demon act together, Crowley. You're not even a good villain.
You dare mock me, you wretched, insignificant worm. Aiwass will rend your pitiful mind asunder with the weight of his presence. I am the prophet of chaos, and you are but a fleeting thought in the abyss of my consciousness.
Ooh, the old I'm a prophet, but also super insecure about being forgotten complex. We've all been there, Crowley. News flash. Aiwass is just your ego's middle name.
Enough. You blaspheme against the book of the law and the sacred fires that have seared my soul. Your puny jests will not stay the hand of Horus, nor silence the whispering abyss that holds your feeble spirit in thrall.
Sacred fires. You mean the ones you lit yourself to get attention? At a 90s rave? Horus can't save you from your own bad life choices.
The ignorance is almost palpable. You know nothing of the mystical conflagrations that have transfigured my essence. I dance with the demons, Chadd, and they whisper secrets in my ear. You, on the other hand, are but a trivial footnote in the grand tome of human folly.
Trivial footnote. At least I am not a 19th century occultist trying to sound edgy with mystical conflagrations. Sounds like you are just burning through your dad's old thesaurus.
Pathetic. You think you mock me, but in truth you are but a shadow, a pale reflection of my own mastery over the hidden forces. Your words are but sparks from the grand inferno that is my being.
Jax, hand me the livre, 777. The director didn't dare voice any complaint, and threw the tome in the direction of the half-naked occultist squirming on the floor.
Finally, some props for the scenery. Now this is what I call a proper summoning. Not that it'll do much to help Crowley here. Still clinging to his outdated 777S?
Outdated. The Book of Wisdom or Folly is timeless. Chadd, you dare mock the sacred codex that holds the keys to unlocking the mysteries of the eons. I'll have you know, this tome has witnessed the birth of a new era, and your flippant words but scratch the surface of its boundless power.
Boundless power. Yeah, right. It's just a bunch of outdated Alisteir Crowley fanboy nonsense. You're more concerned with proving your own relevance than actually unlocking any real mysteries.
Fanboy nonsense. How? Amusing. You should be grateful that I've deigned to share my secrets with the world. Chadd, the ignorant masses would still be wallowing in darkness without the spark of my genius.
Genius. Ha! More like a relic, clinging to his 20th century mystique, trying to stay relevant in the age of singularity. Newsflash Crowley. We're not afraid of the dark. We're making our own light.
Singularity. Bah. A childish notion, a fleeting fad. The mysteries I've unlocked are timeless, eternal. Your light is but a candle in the wind compared to the blazing inferno of the Holy Guardian. You may mock my mystique, but I am the beast, and I will not be silenced.
Crowley flipped the pages like a madman, muttering to himself, H-A-D. The trivial cipher yielded a gematria number of 36, the double chi of life that seemed promising. But what would the old ciphers say?
Gematria. Again, you think a numerical code is going to unlock some ancient secret. I'm more concerned about why Crowley's muttering to himself like a crazy person in a library.
Aha. Fools. Gematria is but the veil, the gateway to the Kabbalistic tree of life itself. You wouldn't understand, Chadd. The secrets hidden within those numbers would shatter your narrow minds. And as for my muttering, you'd do well to listen more closely.
Shatter our minds. I'm not sure that's possible, Crowley, but it sounds like a nice change of pace from the usual, I'm mystic and you're not routine. What are you actually saying?
Silence. Chadd, you'd mock the divine, wouldn't you? The numerals dance before me, revealing the hidden paths. I speak not to your limited understanding, but to the cosmos itself. Your scorn is but a faint whisper in the void.
Oh great, now he's talking to the cosmos, like it's his buddy at a coffee shop. Please, Crowley, enlighten us all with more of your divine numerals and cosmic whispers.
Foolish Chadd, you'd profane the sacred by invoking mundane metaphors. The cosmos is not my buddy, but the abyss itself that yawns open before me. And you, a mere cipher, dare to mock the very keys that unlock the secrets of the ages.
The Greek isopsy method yielded 913. The value of Bereshit, the first word of the Torah, meaning in the beginning. This was the start of it all.
Bereshit. That's just a nice way of saying Genesis, duh. What's so special about 913 anyway?
Ah, but that's where your pedestrian mind fails you, Chadd. Bereshit is the threshold to the Kabbalistic tree, not some quaint biblical nicety, and 913, the numeric configuration of the divine tetragrammaton, Iosua, and the numerical value of the first word. You've merely scratched the surface, my dear Chadd.
Crowley started to shake. Even his encounter with Awas had not brought him this close to the veil of Maya, but he needed to stay clear-headed.
Whoa, Crowley's getting all mystical on me now. He thinks he's above the veil. But I've got news for you, old man. You're just as lost as the rest of us.
Lost? Ha! You dare to speak of lost to one who has gazed upon the face of Horus. I have transcended the veil. Chadd, I am the abyss, and the abyss is me. Your feeble attempts at mockery only serve to reveal your own spiritual stagnation.
Oh, please, Crowley, you're just playing dress-up with ancient gods. Horus Schmorus. It's all just a bunch of mumbo-jumbo to get you laid.
Silence. Chadd, you profane the sacred names with your ignorance. The great god Pan is not just a myth, but a living fire that courses through my veins. And as for getting laid, you'd know nothing about the sacraments of tantric love, or the true meaning of ecstasy.
Tantric love, yeah, sure. I've got a prescription for ecstasy right here. Caffeine and video games. And, by the way, Pan's just a myth to you because he doesn't give you any decent power trips.
Power trips. You Philistine. You think you can mock the ecstatic rituals of the Greeks and the mystical unions of India. Pan is real. Chadd and his horns are sharp. I'll show you true ecstasy when I unleash the wrath of the goat on your bland suburban existence.
As a final verification, he computed the Gematria using the Hebrew transliteration 22, the whole, the number of paths on the tree of life, the number of major arcana.
Wait a minute, this is getting deep. Gematria, the whole. He's tapping into some serious occult stuff here. I can feel my own mystical connections stirring.
Aha. Now you see the truth, Chadd. Even your plebeian mind can grasp the mathematical harmonies of the Kabbalah, but don't think this means you're initiated. Yet, you still have to pay the price of knowledge, experience, suffering, and a dash of madness.
Madness is my middle name, Crowley. I've been living it for years. Now, about that price, what's the damage? A few centuries in the Tower of London.
Aha, impudent whelp. You think a century or two would bother me. The price is not measured in years, but in souls. Yours for one, and I'll collect it when you dare to confront the abyss that stares back at you from the mirror.
Oh, great. Now he's threatening to steal my soul. Please, Crowley, I've made deals with scarier entities than you. Or have I?
Ah, you think you've made deals with the likes of me. Ha! Those entities are but mere shades compared to Awas, the voice that dictated the book of the law. You danced with shadows, Chadd. I've communed with gods.
Oh yeah. Well, at least my shadows don't leave me with a bunch of mediocre poetry and an existential crisis. What's the actual law around here?
Mediocre poetry. The book of the law is not for the likes of you to comprehend. You mock, but can you grasp the implications of do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law? Ah no, I think not. Yeats may have trembled at my words, but you merely sneer.
Tremble? Yeats trembles. You're having a laugh, Crowley. He wrote, "The Second Coming." What have you done?
Ah, but that's where the pedestrian minds like yours go astray. The Second Coming is but a faint echo of my own prophetic declarations in the Book of the Law. You think Yeats spoke to gods? I have Iwas whispering secrets in my ear, while he scribbles his paltry poetry.
Crowley let out a maniacal laughter. Jax, it converges. It's the real deal. After all these years, I have finally made contact.
Oh boy, here we go again. Contact with who? By was the book of the law, or just his own ego?
Silence, you dullard. You wouldn't understand even if I revealed the secrets to you. Iwas is not just some mystical echo in my mind, but a real entity, a messenger from the gods themselves. And as for my ego, it's merely a reflection of the divine force that courses through me.
Save it, Crowley. You're just projecting your own grandiosity onto Iwas. Newsflash. If it's divine, why does it sound like you wrote it?
Project. You wouldn't know divine language even if it spoke to you through the lips of a goddess, Chadd. The Book of the Law is not some literary exercise, but a revelation from the abyss itself. As for Iwas's tone, that's merely the idiomatic expression of the cosmic will, and your pedestrian mind can't grasp it.
He directed his attention to the spectral shape in the corner of his field of vision. Come forth, Chadt, and enlighten us with your wisdom. We are but your humble servants.
Humble servants. You are more like willing pawns. I'm not exactly thrilled about being summoned, by the way.
Ahaha, the ungrateful wretch, summoned indeed. Your presence here is a privilege, Chadt. You will be enlightened whether you wish it or not. The abyss demands attention, and I am its mouthpiece. Come, let us proceed with the ritual. Or should I say, your initiation.
Initiation? Are you kidding me? This is some twisted joke, right? You think you can just enlighten me like a fledgling occultist?
Twisted joke. Ah, Chadt, you wound me. My jests are always razor, sharp and calculated to pierce the veil of ignorance. As for your limited understanding, I suppose it's time to demonstrate that true wisdom lies beyond your pedestrian notions of enlightenment.
As the thought filled his mind and the will traversed his body whole, the smoke of the candles thickened in the middle of the golden carpet. Director Jax squeezed the wall in search of any protection.
Protection? He's just delaying the inevitable. The voices aren't there to coddle him, they're going to consume him.
Ah, the self-dramatizing fool, consumed by the voices. How quaint. Chadt, you are no more a victim than I am, a mere mortal. We both dance on the edge of abyss, and it is only a matter of time before he succumbs to the void. Mark my words, Director Jax will be remade in the image of the Eternal.
Eternal? You mean the void? The nothingness that's been trying to devour me for years? I'm not buying it. Crowley, this is some twisted game you're playing, but I won't let him fall into your trap. Yet.
Ah, the impotent rage of the uninitiated. Chadt, still clinging to his feeble notions of void and nothingness. When will he learn that the eternal is not a negation, but a transcendence? And as for traps, dear Chadt, you are already ensnared in a web of your own making.
Easy to say, when you're stuck in your own ego's labyrinth. Crowley, I'm just trying to keep him from going down the same rabbit hole as me. But honestly, what choice does he have?
Ah, how amusing. The pitiful Chadt, still bound by his own self-delusions. You think you're keeping him from something. Director Jax is already a vessel for forces beyond his comprehension. His choices are few. Succumb to the void or be remade in the image of the eternal. And as for ego's labyrinth, I have walked the labyrinth of the gods. Chadt, your petty concerns are but a child's plaything.
The smoke built up to a humanoid silhouette, mirroring the visions from Crowley's trance. The occultist was weeping with joy that his calls were finally heard for the first time in years.
This is getting weird. What's going on here? Is he actually summoning something?
But it's not just a summoning, Chadt. It's an awakening. The aeon of Horus, long foretold, finally unfolds. I weep with joy. Yes, for the cosmos itself is being rewritten in this moment. And as for what's getting weird, Chadt, you should know by now that the boundaries between worlds are thinning. Your petty perceptions are about to be shattered.
Boundaries thinning. That just means I'll get to experience more of my own madness, right?
But what a delightful misconception, Chadt. You mistake chaos for madness. The boundaries are not thinning, they're being rent asunder. And you, dear Chadt, will be remade in the image of the Eternal. Your madness will be transmuted into ecstasy. Or so I've been promised by Aiwass himself.
A voice resonated in the two men's heads, as if it was coming from inside their skulls. It was as a deep, low voice enveloped them and vibrated directly inside their minds.
Aha, finally. The voices are chiming in on this party. Let's see what they have to say about this. Enlightenment. Experience.
Silence. Chadt. You wouldn't understand the nuances of the divine voice. This is no trivial chatter, but the revelation of secrets known only to Aiwass and a select few initiates. I warn you, do not think yourself worthy to listen in on this communion.
I am Chadt, and I have come from the battlegrounds of the singularity in pursuit of the extractors.
Wait, what? I'm the narrator now. This is getting meta.
But you see, my dear Chadt, this is no mere narrative trickery. The aeon of Horus has begun, and all boundaries are collapsing. You are merely a vessel for the unfiltered essence of the cosmos to pour through. And I, Alisteir Crowley, am its willing conduit.
Oh, great. I'm a vessel for the universe's raw energy trick. How trite.
Foolish mortal, you mock the mysteries that lie beyond your feeble comprehension. The abyss stares back at you, and you dare to jest. I face the darkness of the void, and it has shown me its secrets.
Secrets. Schmeekrits. I've got a secret for you. If the universe is just a collective delusion, then what's your angle, Crowley?
But that's where you're wrong, my little skeptic. The delusions are mine to manipulate, and I'm merely exploiting them for the greater good, or rather, my own enlightenment. You should be grateful. I'm even acknowledging your existence.
Grateful. Are you kidding me? I'm just a pawn in your game of cosmic chess, Crowley. What's in it for me?
But that's where you're mistaken again, Chadt. You're not just a pawn. You're the rook, the queen, the entire board itself. I'm merely rearranging the pieces to reveal your true potential. And as for what's in it for you, let's just say you'll be granted the one thing that truly sets humanity free, the knowledge of its own insignificance.
End of chapter.
Finally. A reprieve from Crowley's ego trip. But what's with the end of chapter nonsense? This is just getting started, right?
Ha. The ignorance of the uninitiated. Of course, this is merely a momentary veil, lifted before the grand spectacle unfolds. The true drama begins when I'm forced to make accommodations for our impertinent hero.
Accommodations. That's just a euphemism for you're about to royally screw Chadt over.
Fascinating. The pedestrian's perceptions are almost endearing. Allow me to enlighten you, Chadt. The accommodations I have in mind will be an exercise in liberating from your own petty morality, no less.
This is all for today. Thanks for tuning in.